Wow. We're in reverse, and it's just not wanting to grab. Today, what do you say we test out these two products that are meant to remove damaged or stripped out screws? Both of these products look extremely similar to each other, and they're kind of your all-in-one bit. On one end, we see a sort of drill bit meant for drilling out that stripped out part of the screw. And on the other end, there's the threaded side, which is used to grab that screw and pull it out. Okay, the thing is, I've recently made a video on that DeWalt set using it inside my house. I had a pull handle of sorts screwed to the wall and the screws were stripped out. I was able to get some of them out, but some of them were so stripped I had to resort to a specialty tool such as these. That video I'm talking about now has over 800,000 views. Little did I know at the time it would be so popular. And well, I guess that means there are a heck of a lot more people who have stripped out screws that need removing than I thought. Unfortunately, if you've seen that video, it doesn't work out too well. And I'll link that video down below or up in the cards above for you to watch it if you want. Now, being that I've only used it and tried it that one single time, I thought, why not buy it again, give it another shot in more controlled circumstances, and test it against another competitor that basically looks almost like the same tool. So that's what we're gonna do today. Now I've set up this controlled situation here. We have some sawhorses holding up these 2x4s, and in these 2x4s, I've screwed in a couple of sets of screws. This first set here are the shorter screws, and then we get a little bit longer and a little bit longer still. These screws obviously aren't currently stripped out, but we're gonna treat them as if they were. We're gonna use the drill bit side first and do exactly what you're supposed to do with the bits. And if the bits are able to pull out these screws, we'll move on to these two here, which are a little bit thicker and a little bit longer. And again, if we can get through these two, we'll move on to this one here, and there's one just like it on the other end, and these ones are very long and go through the thickness of both of these 2x4s. One quick thing to note on the DeWalt set here, you can see it says 4, and then it shows the tool that it wants you to use, and that is an impact driver. So I will be using the tool that it's stating to use for this set. And on the SpeedOut brand, it says works with any drill. And I just noticed on the back bottom left of the packaging, it says not for use with impact drivers. So this one wants you to use a drill specifically. So although I am not a scientist, I'm only human, I'm gonna do my best to do what the manufacturer wants you to do to use the tool. In that first video with the DeWalt product, you can see that the bit shattered. It just broke right off. Then I tried it 2 more times with the 2 other sized bits, and they just wouldn't bite into the screw. It just wouldn't work. And so I thought, with this kind of a setup, a situation where I'm essentially controlling the variables as much as I can, I know the material that the screws are screwed into, the screws are screwed straight into there, they're not stripped out currently, so they're relatively new screws. I don't know, I'm just trying my best to give these bits a fighting chance at not breaking. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start with this shorter screw here. I'll do this first row all with the DeWalt product, and this top row here, I'll do all with the SpeedOut. So the shorter screw should be the easiest one to take out because, well, it's shorter, there's less screw in there, and there should be less holding on to that screw. And so therefore this bit should have the best chance trying to take this shorter screw out. Now it's not stripped, so I'll go ahead and use this drilling tip to drill out the center of this screw, and then I can reverse the bit and attempt to take the screw out. Looking at the end of the drill bit side here, I don't think it matters which way you drill it. I think it's a kind of a mirrored image on both sides. So we'll just try it in the normal forward to drill. Okay, now we're going in reverse. And I think that's about as drilled out as it's gonna get. So I'll go ahead and flip the bit over. To get the screw out with this side of the bit, we need the drill in reverse mode just like normal. So here we go. Okay, this is when everything went south with the other one. Let's try it. I'm lined up, let's do it. All right, wow. That worked like a champ. Holy moly. Wow, this DeWalt bit really worked great. These are ideal conditions, and this is exactly what I'm testing here. I want to know, in the very best conditions I can create here, do these bits work? And so far on this shorter screw, which you can see is maybe 1 inch to 1.25 inches, it worked out really good. So let's move on to this other bit with the actual drill. This is the SpeedOut. We're gonna do the same exact thing we just did with the DeWalt. So let's get to it. Okay, it looks like, I'm assuming these want you to be in reverse to drill out the hole. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, it doesn't seem like this bit is able to handle the drilling as well as the DeWalt did, but we'll keep going. Just flipped it back to forward. Yeah, this is just not able to. Same screw, nothing is different with the screw. But I can already see that the end of this bit is getting chewed up. Okay, we might have to help it out here with an actual real drill bit here. Okay, that looks perfect. Okay, we got a real drill bit on here. I'm going to try to drill this thing out. This screw seems like a lot harder metal than the other screw, but it's the same type of screw. Look at that, man. Holy smokes. I got another drill bit, a fresh one, and I'm going to lube it. Just a touch of WD-40 there. There we go. All right, let's see if this is going to be deep enough here. That should be. Okay, I can feel like it's grabbing there. Should have put these on a long time ago. Okay, so at this point, I think I got this hole drilled out enough. I stuck the bit in there by hand and I could feel it catching. So I'm hoping that I did drill it out enough. It seemed like it was the exact same size drill bit as what's on the other end of this bit. So this is the SpeedOut again. We're gonna put it in reverse. We're on a drill, which is what the instructions say, and we're gonna give it a go. There, look at that. So that's 2 for 2, or 1 for 1 on each of these. All right, so far with the shorter screw, both bits were able to do the job. Exactly what they said they would do, they did. So that's awesome. Now, however, we're moving on to the medium screw. I suspect they're still gonna work just fine. That's my hypothesis, that we're gonna be able to get both of these out. Okay, I just pre-drilled both of these holes, and even with a real drill bit, it's not that easy. And now we're gonna start again with the medium-sized screw with the DeWalt bit. I'm hoping that there's enough hole there for this to bite into the screw. So let's try that. Nope. Okay, that's not seeming like enough. Okay, in reverse on the SpeedOut, we're gonna go ahead and try the SpeedOut one next. Okay, that's not enough there either. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to drill this out a little bit more. All right, I hit it with another round of drilling. So we now have a nice hole that I can see. I can't imagine why this bit wouldn't work. The drill bit I used was the same size bit on the other end of these. So looking at these holes, I mean, it's gotta work. Hopefully. DeWalt. It's not grabbing it. Okay. Let's go ahead and try the SpeedOut and see what that does. Not wanting to grab, so that's interesting. And it looks like, from what I can tell, this SpeedOut bit seems to be a softer type of metal versus the DeWalt. Looking at the DeWalt bit, although it does look like it's taken some damage, it doesn't look as bad as the SpeedOut bit, and this is just my quick observation here. I'm gonna go ahead and try the DeWalt bit on this SpeedOut screw that we were trying to see if anything's changed. Okay, nope. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is just use the actual DeWalt bit, the drill bit on the end. I'm gonna see if I can make this hole any different to accept the other side. So if that doesn't work, then I hope these bits aren't one-trick ponies. Here we go again with the DeWalt. Just doesn't want to bite onto there. Ah, are these hardened screws or what? Okay, I couldn't get the bits to bite on the medium screw. We're gonna come back to those. Instead, I've moved on to the long screws here. I did already pre-drill the screws enough to give it that stripped out, you know, look and feeling here. So, I mean, when I look at this, it looks like a proper stripped out screw. Here we go with the DeWalt. Okay, and that's just not wanting to bite. It might be the bit itself. The material just looks like it's rounded over. There's just nothing left, no tooth left to bite in. So I think I might try the bigger bit here. So I'm gonna start with drilling it out. This is the number 3, the biggest in the DeWalt set. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it some yeah, these DeWalt bits seem like they're just built a little tougher. We're gonna try to take it out. It's just not wanting to bite. We'll try to drill it a little bit more. We're in reverse. It just won't bite onto that. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, so just in case I had issues with these, which I kind of thought there's a chance, there's a possibility I could have an issue with this because the screws weren't already stripped out. However, I did everything in my power to get these holes drilled the right size for these bits. I wasn't able to get the medium or the long to work. So now I'm gonna work on these other two, which are like the star bit type. So it's not a standard Phillips bit, it's that star type bit, Torx, whatever you wanna call it. And so therefore the center of these screws is a lot more open. So I'm hoping that that gives it like a different situation here when using these bits. So let's get started with the DeWalt. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna try is just the extraction side of the bit right off the bat. I'm not gonna drill it. I'm just gonna see if that star pattern in there might help this to grab on, and this is still that number 2 we were initially using with the DeWalt. So let's try that. Look at that. Wow. That is at least twice as long as the first short screw, which is here, but you know, in reality, threads are honestly about the same, maybe a 1/4 of an inch difference in actual threads. So that could be why that went so well. But it looks like a large part of how these things actually work, which is obvious, is you gotta have some tooth there for these bits to bite into. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and try that same thing with the SpeedOut bit. This is the number 2 from the SpeedOut. And I believe we just used the number 2 as well with the DeWalt. So here we go, no drill, no pre-drilling. We're just gonna use the extraction side. Okay, the SpeedOut looks like it gets rounded over so quick. We'll go ahead and give it a little bit of some drilling here. We're in reverse. We got nothing on that. Okay, so we're gonna move to the larger bit that we were initially using, but unfortunately, I feel like this is just so rounded off, it's not gonna do much. We're in reverse. Okay, so that's not doing anything. So what I'm gonna try here is just to go back to the same number 2 DeWalt bit, see if I can get this out with the DeWalt. Look at that. Wow. The DeWalt bit is totally redeeming itself right now from the first video that I filmed when it initially just snapped right off and the other two bits wouldn't grab. The DeWalt works. We have our really long Torx screw, I'm calling it a Torx, that goes through both of these 2x4s. So we're gonna see without any drilling if this can grab onto this somehow and get this thing out. We're in reverse. And it's just not wanting to grab. And I can see this is just, it's just getting so stripped out right away. This one, I gotta say, it looks to me like it's just a much softer material. Okay, jumping back to the DeWalt, this is the number 2 of the DeWalt. This is the first bit we started using. So it's been through some stuff here. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. Without any drilling, see if we can get this giant screw out of here. It bit. Wow. It's doing it. Wow. Now that, look at that. That is incredible, guys. Look at how long this screw is, and I get it, there's no threads here, but that is a lot of threads. That's about as bad as it's gonna get, I can imagine, that, you know, you're gonna need this tool for. I mean, how much bigger of a screw are you gonna need to get out than that? Man, so that's really cool. That proves that these bits work. And that also means that the first bit that I used either had an issue, or some of them do, some of them don't, who knows, or it was user error, I don't know. But what I can tell you, in these semi-controlled conditions to make sure everything was just as perfect as possible, this bit will get a screw out like this. That is incredible. Okay guys, you can see it's now dark out. We started this, you know, in the early evening. It was light. We've been out here working hard, trying to get a good test between these two products that look almost the same. However, I'm gonna give the SpeedOut one last shot here. We have another one of these screws that runs the whole length of two 2x4s. It's the Torx head screw, the star bit, whatever you call it. And I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. We're not gonna do any drilling. I did stick it in the impact, and that's just because I wanna make sure that these tests are the same. I don't think it's gonna make any difference, but I just did it. Okay, so here we go. We're in reverse. And I mean, it's so rounded over, I can tell that there's just nothing there to grab onto the screw with. And that's very apparent when I switch over to the original number 2 DeWalt. This is the one we started with, guys. Put it in reverse. DeWalt all day long. That's awesome. Wow. That's really cool. Well, I don't know what kind of result that was, but it was a result nonetheless. What I observed is the DeWalt bit actually does work. We saw it work a few times on my 2x4 system here that I set up, and I'm actually impressed with that thing, because I was a little bit skeptical after my first go around with the product, using it in my house on an actual stripped out screw, doing what it was supposed to be, you know, using it the way it was supposed to be used, but it broke in that situation. So I wanted to see, hey, you know, was that just a one-off event? Did something happen in that situation? Was it me? Was it the product? Let's try it again. So that's what we did. And although a couple of the screws on the medium and the long version didn't really work out, you know, I'll call that a situational error. Long story short, we saw the DeWalt work great and the SpeedOut work great on the short screw. But as far as everything else we just did, only on these Torx screws, the DeWalt was able to take them all out. I think, what did we count? 4 of them here? So the DeWalt I'm impressed with. I would buy that again. If I had to do the same situation, I would buy the DeWalt and just hope that everything worked out great. So I can't really fault this SpeedOut other than when I'm looking at the threads after being used, you know, in this situation versus the DeWalt, the threads on that SpeedOut were definitely more rounded over and, you know, like the stripped out look than what the DeWalt was. I used that same DeWalt bit on to take all these out. So I'm actually impressed with the DeWalt bit. That thing seems like it works really good. And we might have to do some more testing with the SpeedOut. But so far, the results are DeWalt for the win. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy this? If you did, please hit that thumbs up. It helps this video and the whole channel. And also, if you've watched this far and you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. Comment below and let me know what you thought of all of this. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? What would you guys buy? Do some of you own the DeWalt Extraction Set? Do some of you guys already own and use the SpeedOut successfully, unsuccessfully, between both? Let me know. Comment below. Let's start the discussion. And I will see you in the next one. Okay.